Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is so much fun. I recently did a makeup would you rather video. It's carded above if you're curious. One of the questions was, would you rather apply your makeup with no mirror or with no brushes / only using your fingers? So I decided to take that challenge, and everything that you see with the exception of my lip product and my mascara was applied with my fingers. Stick around if you want to see what I did. Alright, so I've pulled out the Geodes palette from What's Up Beauty. This palette's really nice. It's a great neutral palette with a twist. It's mainly neutrals, but the neutrals are leaning a little bit more cool or more purple-ish. For the most part, there are a couple exceptions over here. I thought that this would be a safe palette for today's video, like applying it only with my fingers, because I figured I can use rather gentle mattes. There's nothing too stark or deep or dramatic in here, and then I know the shimmers are beautiful and they apply nicely with the finger. I think ColourPop would also be a pretty safe choice for today's video, but I actually much prefer the What's Up Beauty formula. This is a great formula. So I'm going to apply my makeup with no brushes today. It's going to be mainly fingers, but even my primer I'm going to apply with my fingers. Let's zoom in and see how this goes. The primer I'm using today is the Glam Light Icing Primer. This is the shade Buttercream. Everything that I'm using is going to be mentioned, or if possible, linked down below in the description box. I really don't know how this is going to go. I thought that the prompt or the challenge was, okay, it wasn't even a challenge because it was theoretical, right? But I thought that it was fun. I thought it sounded fun to actually try to apply my makeup without any brushes, you know. Maybe I'm traveling and I just forgot my brushes, in which case I have to put it all on with my fingers, right, if I want to apply anything. So I thought that would be a fun video today, and maybe I'll find a new technique. Honestly, putting my primer on with my finger is feeling quite comfortable, and I'm not getting bristles in my eye, so that's a plus. Be sure to check out my carded video above, the makeup would you rather tag, because there are lots of outrageous or silly sorts of questions, you know, would you rather be a glazed donut or lit from within, that sort of thing. And I don't know, when I did the tag, I just thought, hey, that would make for a really fun video. I do have a baby wipe here to clean my fingers as I go and try not to soil my clothes too much. I wonder if applying the primer is going to be a problem, like having used my fingers, because I've taken the oils from my fingers and added them to my eye primer. I have no idea. I think I'm going to try to set my primer, which is something I never do. Generally, I put on my eye primer and then I just dive in with the colors, and the colors appear more pigmented if you go in straight away with those colors rather than adding them onto a more neutral sort of tone if you have set your primer. However, because I don't have brushes to use today, I think that putting a wash of a softer, more transition, or even just a setting sort of color on the whole space will be a foundational step to let the next shades blend together more easily, because then I'm not taking a darker shade and blending it into the primer with my fingers. I'm blending it into base color. Does that make sense? So I've just got a face primer here. This is from CoverGirl. I'm really just going to dip into it. Well, you know what? This has a little poof. Does that count? It's not a brush. It's not technically a brush. So I think that's what I'll do. It just occurred to me. Hopefully you don't think I'm cheating. So I'm going to take this little poof and just put it on top of my lid space. Because, like I said, I don't want to take the shadow and dab it right on top of the primer, because I don't have the tools to blend it well. So I think that this is going to really help me out a lot. Famous last words, right? Okay, let's dive in. So here's the Geodes palette. I'm going to take the shade Rock. I'm going to pick up Rock. Put that behind my ear because it's annoying me. And I guess I'll use my ring finger. Here's Rock. And I'm just going to try to put this in my crease. I know that this is a very good formula. It's quite soft. It's super easy to work with. It's also buildable, so I should be able to get a decent transition, I think, from soft to deep. Oh yeah, I think that putting, this is actually really fun. I think that putting that face powder was a good idea, because as I'm sliding back and forth in my crease on my skin, it feels softer. It doesn't feel like I'm sliding or skipping hard over a tacky primer base. So I think that was a good idea. So I'm just filling my crease here with Rock. Is there any way that I can create a little cat eye type moment? Alright, so I actually think that looks really nice. Now I've wiped off my finger with my trusty little baby wipe on my knee, and I'm going to grab the shade Rhodonite and do the same thing just in a smaller space. I'm trying to be as true to my natural aesthetic and preferences as I can, even though I don't have tools to achieve that. I think that's looking quite nice. Should I go in with the deepest? Okay, I'm gonna take Terra, which is the deepest matte. I'm gonna grab it with my pinky because that's a smaller surface, really. Just going in with my pinky, and I'm gonna tap it in the same space, just smaller, you know, a little bit more of the outer corner. Okay, now this one is definitely more challenging because it's much more pigmented, so I'm just really tapping it into place. It's really concentrated right here. You can actually see a little round patch from my finger and the oils in my finger picking up the pigment. So I'm working that and dragging that patchy area down onto the lid. Okay, you know what? I don't think that's looking terrible. I don't think that's looking terrible. I really am pleased with having chosen this palette because I thought ahead of time what palette's going to be the easiest to work with. The shadows work nicely together. They don't require a lot of extra effort. They're also more neutral leaning, so I'm not going to be trying to blend blue, you know, with my fingers. I think that this was a good choice. In the world of creating absurd and slightly unrealistic challenges for ourselves, this one could be going worse. Okay, so maybe we should do something on the lower lash line before I get my fingers all sparkly with shimmer. I think I'll take Rock again. Let me think. How can I get... I'm trying to think. How can I use my... These are my tools, right? So my pinky is the smallest finger I have and the thinnest, and my lower lash line I don't want to be too thick. If I try to load up the shadow on this side of my pinky, I can just run it along the base of my lid all the way. And that's probably the easiest as far as my hand's positioning. But if I get on this edge, which is actually a little bit slimmer, I think I could do it like this, but then I'd be struggling at the bridge of the nose. So I think I'm gonna try to load up this side of my pinky, but I'm not sure. That's the tricky part, is dipping it into the pan. This is ridiculous. Okay, so I'm dipping it into the pan actually like this. I'm loading up just the edge of my pinky. And see, it's now I'll try to do my lower lash line. I think I'll start in the outer area, because if it's just not working very well, that color is going to be contained out there. I hope you guys are finding this entertaining because I definitely am. All right, I'm going to leave that as it is with no... I'm not going to try to get it too far in. There is a bit of patchiness right here, so I think I'll load up the other side of my pinky and just do this. When I do this editing process, I'm going to make sure that nothing gets cut out so that you can see that I didn't use any brushes for the entire eye look. There we go. That's better. That filled in that gap pretty nicely. Okay, it's time for sparkle. Now, what works best with my shirt? So I'm going to pick up rose quartz with my ring finger and lay that on the whole lid space. This is easy. I mean, I do this all the time. And look at how beautiful that shimmer is. So, so pretty. It's very impactful. It's very pigmented, but it's just the lightest, softest color. Because I have hooded eyes, I'm making sure that I tilt my finger up a bit to catch that overhanging skin. That's beautiful. That's a really pretty color. I don't know that I've used rose quartz all over my lid space. That's really pretty. Okay, so I'm kind of thinking of grabbing peridot to tie into my shirt a little bit on a different level, but the blue-green on my shirt is a soft sea foamy kind of aqua, and peridot is definitely more green. So I think instead I'll grab Earth-like. So same finger, wiping it off, same finger into Earth-like just a little bit, and tapping Earth-like right here on the edge of the shimmer into the mattes. I don't know how much that's bringing. It's just gonna add a tiny bit of purple over here, but more of a grounded brown purple rather than the crystal shade that is definitely more purple. So as usual, I'm tapping Earth-like, you know, that other shimmer, the darker shimmer here between the shimmer and the mattes. And then I will wipe off my finger and go back into the darkest matte. No, the second darkest matte, the mid-tone matte Rhodonite. And tap that right on top. Yeah, what the heck, I'll go back into Terra. Here's Terra. Tap that right on top. Okay. I think that's looking nice. Now, an inner corner highlight. I love a pastel matte inner corner highlight. I don't have that option in this palette. However, the citrine shade is very, very light, and I know it doesn't have any weird shifts to it. So I'm going to pick up citrine on just the point of my pinky and tap it right here. That's nice. Very, very nice. On the whole, I'm preferring a pastel matte inner corner, but I think that if I have shimmers like this, I don't mind using them as an inner corner because they're so light toned and sparkly, and they don't sink into a little divot at the very inner corner of my, at the very bridge of my nose and make weird shadows. They just brighten the area. So here we go. I'm gonna do the other eye and I'll be right back. Sorry, my daughters came in from outside and interrupted me. I haven't done anything else over here, and I'm just diving into catching up this eye with only my fingers. So I'm gonna stop talking and speed up the video so that you guys can see that I am just using my fingers. And I'll see you again in a few seconds. Okay, so that's that's the eye look done with my fingers. Now, because I'm not allowed to use brushes, it doesn't say that I'm not allowed to use other things such as an eyeliner. I've chosen black for my waterline, so this is not technically using a brush. This is just a tool with a built-in applicator, so I don't think that that is cheating. I thought about applying it with my finger, but I didn't want to take the chance that my fingers might be dirty and touching my eyeball and whatnot, with the clumsiness of trying to apply a waterline color with your fingers. Just felt like maybe not the best idea. So there's black in the waterline. And what else? Maybe I'll put on a little bit of bronzer. Here's my bronzer from Physicians Formula. This, along with everything else, is mentioned down below in the description box. I'm just gonna put some bronzer here-ish. It's very scientific. Here-ish is the technical term. Ordinarily, I would clean up under my eyes with concealer, but I'm actually not going to do that today because there's no fallout from the shadow, and, well, I just don't want to. You guys probably can't even see that, it's so subtle. Maybe a little bit now that I've put on 4 applications of it. Okay, and how about a little bit of highlighter now? I will grab my Aurora Glow Kit from Anastasia Beverly Hills. It looks like this, and it's fun because it's got multiple different colors. I'm gonna go for this one up here, which is a light yellowy. It's called Eclipse. And let me wipe the bronzer off my fingers. Pick up Eclipse with my index finger and just throw that on here. I would definitely say that these sorts of products do apply better with a brush. Or, I mean, depending, maybe a sponge or something. They're not really showing up great when I'm putting them on with my finger, and I think that's possibly down to the nature of having oils on your fingers. So they want to pick up the product, but then it doesn't want to disperse it very well. That's why I keep having to build it up a little bit more, because a lot of the product is just staying on my fingers. I'm going to put on some mascara and some lip gloss or something, and then I'll be right back with you guys to close out this video. Alright, so that is everything. On my lips I used the ColourPop Glowing Lip ColourPop Glowing Lip. The shade is Tickled Pink, and as you can see, that's everything. So, what do you think? I thought that this was really fun. Really, really fun. And quite frankly, the eye look turned out perfectly fine. It turned out fine. Now, again, I made it easy on myself by choosing a really good formula. I knew that the mattes would work together smoothly. I put on that transparent base to help everything move together in a more seamless fashion. I also chose very easy shimmers, which I knew applied very nicely with the finger and would give me some impact despite not having a lot of drama in the mattes. I also chose more neutral leaning tones. I didn't do this look with a red eye or a pink eye or a blue or green eye. I went more neutral and quiet, and I pretty much only do much for the eyes anyway. The rest of the face is just extraneous, and it's so minimal in terms of how much I put on. You probably wouldn't even know if I put it on badly. So, quite frankly, I think I set myself up for success with today's video, but it was still a challenge because I was blending without brushes. The face products were actually harder to apply with the fingers than the eyes because the face products I just kept having to dip back into the pan and put more on to show up at all, and that wasn't a problem with the primed and set eye base. I have minimal makeup anywhere else, so it's really about the eyes, and I definitely did give myself an easier task with the choices that I made for today's video. But I think it's pretty. I do like the look. I think it's nice, and I'm happy to go through my day looking exactly like this. I don't feel like I need to grab brushes and, you know, tidy things up at all. I think it's really pretty. This was such a fun video. I really didn't know how it would turn out, but I really enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Do consider liking and subscribing before you go if you want to see more content like this, and I'll see you guys again in my next video. Thanks for being here. Bye.